Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Shelly Prosko and I have Nick Tumminello joining me again for part 2 of our little Costa Rican chat. Nick is a strength and conditioning coach who is extremely knowledgeable. Check out the video before this and it explains kind of why I chose him to chat with and why I respect his knowledge and what he has to share. So what we had a little chat actually just a few minutes ago about what is this whole mind-body experience, mind-body exercise or mind-body activities. And of course, you know, as a yogi and a yoga therapist and yoga instructor, we know that yoga and maybe even things like Tai Chi and even Pilates, you know, we consider those as mind-body activities. And you know, get in your mind-body experience and your mind-body activities. And we started talking about, well, what does that even really mean? And, you know, are there other ways that you can experience the mind-body connection? So take it away, Nick. Do you have any thoughts to share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was a very good intro. And, well, what I said was, you know, why do you have to be in who says you have to be in a, you know, the standard yoga type room or by the beach or all these things that we tend to associate as if, you know, weight training or conditioning, that's strength and conditioning, but over here is where we do our mind and body activities. Well, who's to say that you can't have a mind, body, or a spiritual experience, no religious, you know, implications there, in the weight training room or doing conditioning.
Or CrossFit or something.
Well, yeah, whatever more higher intensity type of exercise that you think about. I don't necessarily mean high intensity interval training, but something that's a little bit more shorter, higher burst type stuff. Yoga tends to be a little bit more lower intensity, longer duration type movements. And so, yeah, I mean, it has a lot of things to do with, yoga does, a lot of things that do with thinking about certain things and cues and whatnot. So that could be a conscious mind and body. However, and part of what you were talking about was yoga is designed for someone who really wants to take it most people don't take it beyond some sort of basic exercise, you know, form of exercise, you know, flexibility training, relaxing things, that's great. But it was originally designed to gradually progress you into doing harder and harder poses to where you have to be present, you have to own those positions through breathing and things like that. Most of us don't take it there. However, if I took you out, let's say you didn't have any knee issues or, you know, you weren't at risk of hurting yourself, and I made you run sprints. I made you run a 300-yard shuttle, 2 cones 25 yards apart, and I made you sprint up, sprint back, 1 lap, that's 50 yards, so 6 round trips would be 300 yards. That is enough to gas out anybody, even the fittest athlete, and especially if we did several rounds of it. There's going to be a point at which you get so fatigued from doing that, and you're so anaerobic that you're having a hard time breathing and your eyes get big. And at that point, and I can't take credit for this is something I've heard from a mentor of mine, Juan Carlos Santana, not to be mistaken for the guitar player, strength conditioning coach. At that point, you don't have any problems. You don't have any problems with significant others in your life or financial problems. Everything is clear. You cannot not be present at that point. You're forced into that because you are so fatigued. So that is very mind and body, as we have some calls going by right here, two together. So that is a mind-body experience. So the whole point of all this is sometimes when we put labels on things, you have to label things in order to help people understand them. However, those labels do have a side effect, and they make us think that whatever things are not under that label are not that. And we tend to forget that exercise in general, moving around, is also a mind-body, you know, experience, and it all has to do with perception as well. So that's really the whole point of this, is to understand that you don't just have to be in a yoga room to have a mind-body or a spiritual experience. I would say, though, that if you can only be someone who can turn it up, but you can't do it in a turn-down setting, then maybe that's where that cross-training would come in. The idea is to be able to control both.
Right, and I think, you know, really everything is mind-body. I mean, how can we really say that it's not? It's just how you approach the activity, whether it's cooking or talking with someone. You know, it's about awareness and being present. So the way I kind of see it, and what we were talking about earlier, you can use yoga to cultivate those skills of awareness and presence through a variety of different ways. But you can also go in another door and another approach and use the body. So like Nick was saying, you can take the body sort of to its edge, whether it's what he described with the sprinting, or I use the example of my first time rock climbing. I mean, it was a meditation because I had to be present. I had no choice. So that in and of itself is what some of us would call, very yogic. But I guess, I don't know, the point of all this is like you can really make everything or anything mind body. It's really how you go about in how you approach it. And then just the second part to that is, let's say you're just not really that great at being present. You have trouble being present and your mind is just really that monkey mind and it's always thinking and then sometimes you can use an activity that takes you to the edge, like Nick was talking about, and then that can help you cultivate that awareness. So it's like you're going in at the mind body in two different doors.
Correct, and that's the whole idea, is to understand, don't let those labels fool you into thinking that just because something doesn't fall under that label doesn't mean it doesn't have those types of benefits. We always look at weight training as this fat loss or physique, muscle type benefits, and it's not associated with the mind-body spiritual, again, no religious implications there, whatever that means to you, just becoming more internal. It's not associated with that. You go to a gym and they go, oh, here's our weight training room. Now let's come over here and let's show our mind and body area. Mm-hmm. Okay, I get it because you need labels. But when you take those labels aside, again, you don't have to be in that room that they label mind and body or by the beach or whatever to have that spiritual mind-body experience. A lot of it has to do with whatever best fits with what you enjoy, what you're going to continue to do. And some people can move into that. Other people can do something that forces them into that, but it's all this total package, it's all mind and body.
Yeah. And check out the links that I'll leave you below for why we even care about mind body and what are the benefits of cultivating this awareness and this mind body connection. So that's the other question, but you can read about it below. Okay, so Nick, you can find him, your website.
performanceu.net or nicktumminello.com. I'm pretty easy to find online, even if you get my name spelled wrong.
Yeah, and then check out my site, physioyoga.ca. And take care of yourself. Thanks, buddy. That was awesome. That was fun.